Sunday, June 2nd, 2019. I want the angels in heaven to open up their books right now and credit today's message to the account of James Madison Pendleton, D.D., born 1811, died 1891. Dr. Pendleton selected the text for this message. He says that the text of the message is the first time this text was mentioned in the Bible. That reminded me of the law of first mention. I ran into that law under Dr. Simpkins, who was my legal methods instructor. But when you want to really get down to the bottom of a legal matter, you go in your research to the point where that legal matter first appeared. They call it the law of first mention. I think his name was John Paul Simpkins, professor of legal research at Howard University. In any event, Dr. Pendleton takes us to where Jesus breaks the bread of life to his disciples. It's recorded in Matthew 5:16, where these words will be found. The words of Jesus. He says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." Subject for this message is good works. Good works. Pure and simple. Dr. James Madison Pendleton was, in his prime, in his day, he was an outstanding opponent of slavery and deeply concerned about the preservation of the Union. Moreover, he was one of the original trustees of the Crozier Theological Seminary. He lived a long and useful life. Dr. Pendleton states three facts about good works, the details of which I must omit in the interest of time. He says that number one, good works are prompted by supreme love to God. Number two, he says good works are conformed to the divine law. And he says finally, number three, good works are performed for the glory of God. He said these things in his book entitled Christian Doctrine, published by the Judson Press. It is a compendium of theology. So, my good Facebook friend out there in the northern part of California, Curtis, you get Christian Doctrines by James Madison Pendleton, and I think you'll have something that you will deeply appreciate. Good works, my friends, many times good works may sometimes will be misunderstood. So it's important that we understand what good works really mean, what good works are all about. It's important that we understand that. I know some of you have a poor concept of good works. And I want to correct your concept of good works by saying this: they do not make a person acceptable to God. Now, I know you think that your good works can get you in good favor with God, but it's not so. In addition to that, I must tell you that good works do not bring about the born again, the essential born again experience. No, good works can't save a man or a woman, boy or girl for that matter. I submit to you that the person that is right with God will do good works instinctively from a heart of love to God. My friends, when God puts a new heart in a person, let me put it to you like this. When God born you again, you will do good works because the love of God is there in your heart. Dr. Pendleton would put it this way. He'd say, justification and regeneration are not true sources of good works. Same thing I said in my own words previously here. But I want you to know that the basic causation of Christian behavior begins here. Good works. The law of first mention. All things will have been cast away, making room for the new you. So Jesus says in our text to his followers, his disciples, who were much in a state of confusion and anxiety and a state of misunderstanding. Jesus was getting ready to make his final exit. And he wanted to nail this down this law down for his followers, for us. He says, let your light so shine before men. Some folks will take their light and shine it on men. No. Jesus didn't tell you to shine your light on men. He said, let your light so shine among men, not on men. When he give it to you, it was a shining light. And you set a shining light on a candlestick, in Jesus' words, so that it can give light to the whole house. Which community, which house, which spot in the office are you lighting up with your light? Let it shine before men. Not after men, but before men. That they may see your good works and then glorify your Father which is in heaven. Oh, to the glory of God. Have you done anything lately to the glory of God, for the glory of God? My friends, the glory of God, the joy, the satisfaction, the honor, the esteem, the praise, the worthiness, the glory of God is the objective, and it is the reason or cause why we Christians do good works. What kind of works are you doing? Do they stem from a heart of love to God? Do they stem from good business strategies and plans? Do they stem from egotistical need? We have that law to give unostentatiously. Bible says, give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure you give, it shall be given to you again. But don't give to be seen and to receive esteem and praise and honor from men. Like Charles Frank Thompson says, give unostentatiously. That means don't be showing out when you give. Just go ahead and slip it on in there. Go and sit down. God see you, and that's enough. This message is about good works. Think about it. Radiant lives are what it's all about. They are called for by Jesus. Shining lives. I could illustrate this point, but I'm going to refrain from a particular illustration and go ahead and say to you that the composite wisdom of the New Testament teaches us that good works are outward acts of consecration to God. Now I'll give you the illustration. not boastfully or for self-aggrandizement, but I wrote a check for $1,000, put it in the offering plate of a church. And it was not the first time that I had written a $1,000 check and put it in the church offering plate. The causation of that was for the glory of God, out of a heart of love for God. And if God give me $100,000, I will put $10,000 in the offering plate for the glory, honor of God. That would be a good work, an outward act of consecration to God. Time for me to go. 16 minutes, 5 seconds. Referring to the miracles that he performed, Jesus said to his opponents, the text was addressed to his disciples, but here Jesus is talking to his opponents in John 10:32, and he says, many good works have I showed you from my Father. John 10:32. And he said, for which of these works do ye stone me? I tell you something else. There are men and women who are stoning Jesus today. You know how they stone Jesus today? By stoning me, other believers. Did not Jesus say to Saul of Tarsus, in answer to his question, I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting? Jesus was speaking to Paul. He was a resurrected Christ, had lived and died and ascended into the heaven. And then he spoke to Paul from heaven. And he said, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? He couldn't persecute Jesus. Jesus was already in heaven. But he was persecuting his people. Stoning, locking up, whipping up Jesus' people. And Jesus said, inasmuch as you do it unto the least of these good works, you do it unto me. There's a payday coming. And I want you to know that Jesus pays the best wages. It always pays to serve Jesus. You're doing good works for the wrong reason. This is what you need to do. Tell Jesus that you believe that he died for your sins. Tell him you believe that God raised him from the dead. Tell him from a sincere heart. And you will become a disciple of Jesus as a result of you being born again. Now the Holy Spirit is speaking to you through my voice. Harden not your heart, so that your work will be well compensated. Now unto him who's able to keep us from falling, able to present us faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding great joy, the only wise God, to whom be glory, majesty, dominion, and power, both now, henceforth, and forevermore. This has been Albert Franklin Langston speaking